Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a very booktube video today. I'm going to be doing the mid-year book tag, and that's basically just going to be my summary of the first 7 months of the year. How has it gone that fast? And all of I've got some questions to answer. I will be doing the questions that Sarah Crowley did in her video, but I know there's a couple of different variations across different videos, but those are the ones I'm going to be doing. And I'm also going to do what she did, which first of all I'm going to go through my stats for the year so far, which is so much fun. I recently converted to Fable. I say recently, 2 days ago. Spent all the time inputting my data just so I could get these, and it was worth it. So first of all, I've read 45 books so far this year, and it is saying that that means I'm on track to finish, reach my goal, which I think, what did I put it as? 70. I'm on track to finish that by November, so that's pretty good. So I could exceed my goal. My top category is romance, and then young adult, and then fantasy, and then mystery, and then thrillers. I am really intrigued by the categorization of this because I don't think I've read any really mystery, and there's some things on here that I'm like, that's not really showing up, so I wonder how they've categorized it. I would have thought Christian Hannah's would be historical fiction or women's fiction or something like that. I don't know how that's being categorized, but I have read 2 of her books, and I don't really know where. Have they put that as romance? I don't know. Very weird. And yeah, mystery, I don't know what would classify as that, but I can't, unless I upgrade, get any further details. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could tell you guys, but I don't understand that at all. Okay, and then my average rating has been 3.5 so far this year. My most read author, it's saying, is Rick Riordan, but everything is 2. I seem to have read 2 of a lot of people's books this year. So I've read 2 of Rick Riordan, Abby Jimenez, which actually I read 1 of her books, and then 1 was a novella. Chloe Walsh, Catherine Center, Kristen Cicerelli. I genuinely don't know who that is. Oh, she's Crimson Moth, isn't she? Yes, she is. Okay, I'm losing my mind. And then Christian Hannah, Lynn Painter, Maureen Johnson, Rick Riordan. So, those are the stats. Now, let us get into the questions. I'm going to try and do these quite quick fire, especially because I feel like I've spoken out most of these books in other videos. But best book of the year so far is got to be one of my 5-star reads, which there are 3 so far this year. So the first one was actually The Crimson Moth, which I just mentioned. I really love that. It's been a while since I've read a fantasy that I've enjoyed as much as that. And then, so The Shippers I read recently by Catherine Center. I absolutely love that. Perfect romance. And then I read Six of Crows, Letters to Ketterdam, A Darker Shore. I think I got that muddled up. But they're all very different. But I don't know which would be my favourite of that. So I'm just gonna leave it out there because I don't want you guys to make me pick. Okay, please. The worst book was this god-awful book that I read in my bank holiday reading vlog. And that was called The Fun House by Dean Someone. I wish I could scrub that from my memory. It was gross, it was offensive, it was something I just don't even want to think about. It was so bad. I think I gave it 0 star. I should have DNF'd it. I really should have. Then best sequel, I've only read 3. So I read Percy Jackson, I read The Keeping 13, and I read, oh, I guess, what did Duology, Crimson Moth one count? It's really not really a sequel. And then what was the other one Oh, and then Truly Devious. I read the second one, Truly Devious. I don't know whether sequel it counts. I think I would say either Keeping 13 or The Rebel Witch in that case. Because Rebel Witch I gave 4.5 star. So that's great. And then Keeping 13, I think I enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed the first one. If not, maybe slightly more. So I think that's a good sign of a sequel. And also I have found myself wanting to continue that series, whereas the rest of them I've been a little bit more ambivalent to. Solid 4-star reads. Let me go back onto my Fable. Metal Singer, I gave a 4 star. I feel like on reflection I would kind of put that down a bit lower, but I'm not going to change it now. Dagger in the Flame, I gave 4.5 star. I loved that book. That was such a fun fantasy. I've been really struggling to find fantasy that I was really invested in, and that was definitely one that was great. The Woman by Christian Hannah, I loved that. That was so sad and wonderful, and I absolutely was obsessed with it. Project Hail Mary, one of my favourite books of the year. My first sci-fi, and so good. And then the movie, great. Also I'm so glad I read the book before I watched the film. Percy Jackson, the first one, I also gave it a 4.25 star, which is interesting because I think I ended up giving this one like a 3 star, the second one, so that's crazy. The Love Haters by Catherine Center, I think if I read that in summer that would be a 5 star. That was really, really fun. And then the first Truly Devious, I gave a 4 star. Obviously The Rebel Witch, I gave 4.5 star. Beth is Dead, I love that book, that was such a surprise. I read that book in like one sitting, basically. Great fun. And then Throne of Glass, I started Throne of Glass, but I didn't finish the series, so maybe not as good as I thought. New releases you want to read. I'm trying to think whether it's like I want to read like that haven't been released yet or ones that have recently been. If it's recently been, I really want to read Yesteryear. I've been seeing that everywhere. I don't even know if it counts really as recent now. I think it's been out a good long while. I really want to get around to reading that. And then there's one that I cannot remember, but the cover is really distinctive. It's like a green cover with a lamb on it and like scribbles. And it's called Something Lamb. And it's about a really dysfunctional family. I really want to read that also. But then if it's about books that haven't come out yet, then I would say The Tempest by Victoria Aveyard. I cannot wait for that book to come out. Like, I genuinely cannot wait for that book to come out. And then also Trustful by Lynn Painter. However, I haven't been loving Lynn Painter's books recently, but I feel like her YA ones I always like a lot more than her new adult, so I think we should be in with a good chance of that being really fun. And then another one is Tailwind. I can't remember who that's by, but I read that one as like an arc and I'm really excited for that to be out. I really want to buy it and have it on my shelf because that was like a 4-star read. That was so much fun. I literally loved it. It felt like nostalgic book talk, so I'm excited. I guess it's not what I want to read because I have read it, but I am excited for that as a release. Most anticipated reads of 2026, I would say maybe Catabasis, but I feel like I changed my mind on that one. Yeah, I still haven't read that one yet. I don't know if that came out, I think that came out last year because it's just had its paperback release, but yeah, I still haven't read that. Obviously, like basically the ones I've just mentioned. I think also continuing the Boys of Tommen series is very, I feel like a lot of people have their favourite books in the series are like later ones and like the other characters, so I'm excited to get to that. And I'm really anticipating Gibbs's one, so I would put that in that category too. Yeah, I'm gonna say those are my main ones. I have another Christian Hannah book called Summer Island, which I'm really excited about because I love her writing, but this one's like slightly different. It's about like a woman who leaves her family and becomes really famous, and then an injury means her family has to come back into her life, but they have ulterior motives. Which if you would have told me last year that's something I'm excited about, I'd be like, no, just like give me fantasy and romance. I definitely am enjoying more like lit fic and women's fiction and that sort of thing this year, which I didn't think I would. Biggest surprise, I think Beth is Dead was quite a surprise. I didn't expect to be so emotionally invested because it's Beth is Dead is like Little Woman retelling but as like a murder mystery, which is so fun, and I didn't expect to enjoy that, but I definitely did. I guess the Christian Hannah books, just because I didn't read historical fiction, that was a big surprise that I enjoyed that so much. My biggest letdown was a book I recently read called All at Once by Katharina someone, just because I really thought the plot was really interesting. It's like about a woman who's really inexperienced in her 20s, and she basically resolves within herself, she's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to experience everything that I never did. It just wasn't delivered the way I wanted it to be, and I wasn't very invested, and I didn't love the writing style, so that was definitely a letdown. Yeah, that one was really disappointing. I think I gave it like 1.5 or 2 star. I just really didn't enjoy it, and I was really excited to read that book. Favourite author that's a debut or new to you, I'm gonna say Christian Hannah. Because I'm not the type of person that buys books usually based on the author. I buy them based, other than I would say maybe within the romance space, I'm a bit more like Catherine Center, Lynn Painter, Emily Henry are like my big 3 that I will buy and read any book that they write. But Christian Hannah, being like I said, I didn't read historical fiction, and then I read her writing and I fell in love with it, and I literally have 2 more of her books now on my TBR, which is something that I don't usually do, so yeah, I think that's probably my favourite author that is like new to me, because while there have been other books which have been new authors, I'm not like connected to the author themselves. It's not like I would go out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy it because they wrote it, you know? So yeah, Kristen Hanna, I definitely think is my favourite new author. Newest favourite characters, that is really interesting. I would say actually one of the characters from Tailwind, the girl, is very iconic and very like, I can get there myself, which I appreciate. And then I really, really loved the characters in The Shippers. I say that I'm really bad with memories, guys. Like, I don't know who I'm talking about. I can't remember any of these characters' names. Cooper was the guy. Cooper and someone. Very cute. And I don't really usually love a friends to lovers, but I will accept this one. And I think that they made a lot of sense as individuals as well as like as a couple. I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna go for that. I was literally just thinking just then about Metal Singer. I was like, I definitely think I rated that too highly. My brain's like on another planet. I also actually wait, I also will say the character from, give me a name please, the Crimson Moth, she was very iconic. I love having a iconic female. Books that made you cry, both Kristen Hanna books. Beth is Dead. Did I cry anything else? I feel like I cry all the time. Oh, I cried at First and Forever by Nim Painter. There was a line in there that made me cry, which is like very random. I think that's it. I potentially cried in one of the Truly Devious books slightly. Oh my gosh, Boys of Tommen, like Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I sobbed at both of them. I was very, very, very emotional at both of them. Books that made you happy, literally both of the Catherine Centre books I read, loved them, was smiling the whole way through. I think every Lim Painter book I've read this year, even if I've not loved it. Well, actually, yeah, maybe accidentally Amy didn't make me. But what else? First and Forever definitely did make me. Yeah, I'm gonna go with those two. I think Catherine Centre in particular, I've had a good time reading her books this year, and they have definitely made me happy and be like rooting for the characters, you know? Most beautiful book you bought or received. I'm gonna go get it. Hang on. I would definitely say this book. I bought it myself, and literally everything about it is so like tactile and just like beautiful. Like, even look at that, oh my gosh. And it's just, look at the map, and then all the like illustrations. I don't want to spoil it, but like, yeah, definitely without a doubt this one. Books that I need to read by the end of the year is pretty much, I think my goal for the end of the year is to finish series that I've started. So that means I want to finish the main trilogy of Truly Devious. I want to continue Throne of Glass. I want to probably, no, maybe not finish, but definitely get a good way through Boys of Tommen. Same with Percy Jackson. I do really want to read Catabasis just because it's been on my list for ages. And also I think I need to get Alchemized done. I bought it and I thought it was a really good idea at the time, and I really wanted to read it, and now I'm just not really sure I'm in the right like reading space that I would enjoy it. But I also am just like, I feel like I just need to read it and get it done because it's so overwhelming looking at that. 5-star reads, I think I already said them at the beginning. It was the Six of Crows one. I literally nearly hit myself in the face. Six of Crows one, the Catherine Centre, The Shippers, and the Crimson Moth. 5-star reads this year. Haven't had too many, but I have had a couple more 4.5s. Hopefully we can get more 5 stars in the second half of the year. Favourite couple, again, I feel like I'm such a broken record, but I would say The Shippers, Cooper and whoever. Can't remember her name. And this is why, like, sometimes I'm like, why do I even attempt to talk about books? Because once I've read them, they just like leave my brain. I'm like, have I read books this year? Did I like any of the couples? Sure I did. Sure I did. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could. I'm just gonna go Cooper and unknown female from The Shippers. any rereads you want to do. I really want to reread The Love Hypothesis before the film comes out. I don't know if I will. I don't think there's anything else. I also think I want to reread some of Emily Henry's books because I read them like quite a few years ago. I think I especially want to reread Funny Story and Beach Read. Especially because of the Beach Read drama with the casting and the film. But yeah, I'm not a massive rereader, to be honest. I usually, it's just if like I'm like about to start the second one, or even then I think it's pretty much just, I don't think I've ever reread. I reread People We Meet on Vacation. I think it's like the only one I reread. So yeah. And then 5-star predictions. I don't really predict 5 stars. I don't know, I feel like I go in to most things open-minded. Like I definitely don't have like a star rating that I think it's gonna be. I can be like, oh, I really think I'm gonna enjoy this, it sounds like my thing, but I don't think I ever go in being like, oh, 5 star. But if I had to think, I would say maybe The Tempest by Victoria Aveyard, just because I've been craving a pirate fantasy, and when I've got a good fantasy this year, it's been like, no one even talked to me. I'm obsessed with this. Maybe Christian Hannah, she has been working her way up for me, because it went from, I think it was 3.75 to 4 stars, so maybe she could steal a 5 star. But other than that, I don't think so. But yeah, that is my reading of the first half of the year. I would say it's been pretty good. I think there is definitely room for some more 5 stars. I definitely want like more fantasy. I definitely think I'm going to prioritise that, because I think I've done a lot of romance and I'm potentially getting a little bit burnt out from that now. Or even like romance is fine, but just romance with a bit more substance. Like, yeah, maybe The Boys of Tommen will be that. But I don't know, I've definitely had a lot of fun prioritising exploring other genres this year, and I think I've done a good job of it. So yeah.